Victory Now audience. How are y'all doing? I'm here with my sweet friend. He's so sweet and a little crazy. Gary Graham. Y'all probably know him from Hollywood Nights. I'm going to read this because I have really big letters too. All the Right Moves, Hollywood Nights, but y'all probably know him best for his Star Trek stuff. Alien Nation, Star Trek Enterprise, Star Trek of Gods and Men. So before I get to something else, I want to talk. So I've asked you before when I've interviewed you in LA in La La Land. Your Star Trek, I'm going to tell you, I had a whole different vision of what I thought of Star Trek fans. I thought they were a little crazy, and I told you that once. And you were really so cool about, you were very defensive, and you said how wonderful they are. And they're kooky, but they're some of the best fans in the world.
Yeah, best people and minds and intellects, and sometimes they may appear to be a bit socially inept, but you know they're just good, solid people who love good stories, and they have great imaginative minds, and their questions are just they're you don't get the what's it feel like to be a Vulcan. You don't get those kinds of questions. You get probing questions that really you know they dance around technology and science and what if questions, and they're just great. They're just great people. Very humble and sweet.
Well, that brings me to my technology question, because I'm going to get deep. I'm kidding. I don't have any technology questions. So I'm not as good as your Star Trek fans. But what is the coolest question that a Star Trek fan has ever asked you?
Well, I don't know about cool, but I was just thinking when you just said that, I was just thinking about sometimes they do ask, they ask technical questions. Some of them don't seem to understand the fact that it's not real, first of all, and it takes 8 days to film an episode. I talked to somebody who thought, well, it takes about an hour to film your episode, right? Because it's an hour episode. I said, no, we break it down as scenes and segments and all that. One guy one time came up to me in the convention center in LA, and with all dead serious earnestness, asked me what was the stabilization elements used on the Enterprise when you piloted the Enterprise yourself, as far as the warp drive, and it was a very advanced Star Trek technology that I just had to say, oh pal, I'm an actor. And the other guys, the minds, they write the series, and they put these things together very intricately, story patterns, and I don't really know. And that upset him. He goes, no, you piloted the Enterprise, and you would know about the warp drive capabilities, and he started to go on, and I'm waving, trying to get somebody's attention. And I just said, you know what? I could answer your question, but I really am not equipped to. I'll tell you who can. That guy right over there, way over in the corner there in the red shirt. Ask him. He's a technical advisor, and he would know on that. So guys, okay, and he marched off and never saw him again. But sometimes it gets a little threatening, and I go, well, I plead stupidity, and it's worked for me all my life. So.
Right over there. Well, Spice Crosby, she just walked past us.
Hi, Spice. Yeah.
Spice can speak Vulcan. Can you?
I really don't. I'm non-Vulcan. I'm just an actor getting away with it. I'm getting away with it.
So you're not really as impressive as Spice to me then.
No, if you want non-impressive, they're looking at him. I'm just a hard hand. I hit my lines and fake it.
So you can't fly the ship and you can't speak the language. That's really sad, Gary. But I want to talk about something that I just saw. This is when I first saw you today, and I told you I wanted to talk to you about this, and I was holding back because
Okay, wait a minute. Hang on. Let me prepare for this, since I've been waiting for this. Okay. All right. Okay.
He's very dramatic, this one. I saw your film, Champion.
You did.
You should have been nominated for an Oscar for your role. You were, I don't blow smoke. This guy I've known for a long, long time. I've seen him act. I've been in, he's good. But in Champion, Gary, I mean, I was crying and I was so happy for you. And I'm like watching it and I'm like, I'm serious. I was crying and I was just, you were so, so good and you were so real and pure. Everything about that film was so good. And if the world had been different, it should have been packed houses seeing that film. And you should have an Oscar.
Oh, wow! I'm overwhelmed. I don't know how to respond to that. Wow.
But I was just kidding. It wasn't that good. No, for real. No, really, no. I mean, I know it was a good movie. I know you.
It was a good movie, and it was like no movie I've ever done, and we worked on it. It's so strange, the synchronistic elements that came together for me working on that film. The role was supposed to go to somebody else, a mutual friend of ours.
Are you allowed to say who?
Nick Searcy, I believe, and he was busy preparing to direct that other film that he did, and did a fine job of it. He called me and he said, "Listen, these folks out in Atlanta, they want to do this film, and I recommended it, and they want to contact you." And so I got in contact, and they asked me to send me a selfie. They sent me a script and asked me to send a self-tape, which I'm really not good at. The self-tape where you hold a camera, a phone on your and talk off screen, off phone. And I said, okay, but in all earnestness, I will give this my best shot. And I tried it, and I failed at the technology of transferring them the video that I taped. And finally, they just called me and said, "Listen, Gary, how you going with this?" And I said, "Man, I failed. I'm sorry. I'd be glad to hop on a plane and go down there and audition for you, but." Anyway, they said, "Well, just tell me about your personal story." And I did, and I talked to them for 20 minutes. And then they just said, "Well, we want to offer you the role." So I flew out there, not really knowing, not having met them, and having read the script. And I really loved the script, so I was anxious to do this film. I showed up, and like no picture I've ever done, we prayed to God before every day of filming, holding hands in a big circle. He had the director had pastors from the neighboring cities or towns to show up and give us a little devotional, 15-minute devotional before we prayed. And the day was sort of had this patina of spirituality about it, and it was just so. I mean, I'm sounding real religiosity, but it just was so inspiring to have a purpose and a story that you wanted to tell, and invest all your heart and soul into it. And it really felt so great every day to go to work. I was just filled with excitement the whole time. And I just appreciate your kind words on my work, because it didn't seem like work when I was doing it. It just seemed like what a wonderful opportunity to tell this very, very important story about a man who loses so much and finds redemption in his forgiveness of people who have so wronged him. And it just gave me a peace that passes all understanding in so many ways, and it was just one of the most wonderful experiences of my life doing that film. So I love it when people, I know that people are going to watch this film.
They're going to show it here, aren't they? They're going to show it at this festival.
I set it up. I went to him. I said, listen, I got a film for you guys. Is this family film, faith-based film? You're gonna love this. So I put the idea in Frank's in Dr. Fred's bonnet, and he went with it. So yeah.
Amazon. That's watch Champion. Just type in Champion. Amazon, wherever. Y'all need to watch it. It's a beautiful film. I mean, it's there with just any great movie that you can think of. I mean, really. I don't go on and on. I go on and on a lot about a lot of stuff, but not like this. I mean, it really moved me. It was beautiful. But your acting was so good. But it wasn't acting. It did seem just genuine and real. So that's why. It was so good.
It's wonderful when you can just say the words and the magic happens. And this was such a good cast, people who really were just behind the whole meaning of the film, and we just let it happen, and the camera was there to capture it. It kind of makes me emotional too.
Well, it should.
Just remembering that. It's so near and dear to my heart. Anyway, I was happy and proud to do a family film with a great message of God and forgiveness.
Gary Graham, look up this guy. He's one of the best in Hollywood that you wouldn't even know is from Hollywood.
That's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me.
There